was not 10, but it was 4 million when you give us the figure by the farmers, and then 1 million or almost 900 by the millers. I think you are not giving us very clear issue, because our suspicion or our thinking is those maize that were there during your survey has not been consumed by Kenyans. It must have gone somewhere. Yeah, it's okay. I'll give you. So what the question Honorable Sarut is asking, if you had that maize and you have even increased the price to 3 million shillings to mop up those maize out of the markets, then what happened that you didn't even reach the end of May, that we're in the crisis where we are now? That's the question, I think.
In fact, Chairman, even when we met, our strong conviction was the traders are still holding the maize, because anytime we did an intervention, the traders released and then stopped. But the projection up to May, when we projected up to May, it meant therefore before May, the government definitely had to do something to ensure that we break the cap. And that is why we identified the cap to be 5 million, and that is why in April we decided to undertake an importation. Otherwise, Kenyan maize did not get out of this country. The SFR maize, I think that's another question which you brought up.
Chairman before.
Honorable
Chairman before. I think, Chairman, and that is why we are requesting Honorable Opio and I, perhaps it was a bit too fast. Chairman, not unless we get it right from the word go, we will not get what we want. And Chairman, the bottom line is what you told this committee in January. And you did say specifically that the farmers are holding 4 million bags, not actually 10, Chairman.
No, I have the...
That is what you told us, and it's on record. And Chairman, I recall very well, I did ask a specific question, as how...
That was December.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I recall asking you very vividly, how did you know that these farmers are holding 4 million bags? What technique, what method did you use? Because, Chairman, not unless we get to know that indeed there are those 4 million bags, or it was just a myth. This is where the whole problem is, Mr. Chairman. So, unless we get to know the bottom of this, Chairman will be going nowhere.
Okay, I think we are at the beginning where we are. What happened really? But let me be very specific on two issues. One is the maize that has not come into the stores that are being held by farmers or by businessmen. That one, I think, you may not be able to account for, but our knowledge also, our information is that those maize must have gone to South Sudan the way the one of Uganda has gone. It is common knowledge. I think they may be hoarded out of the country, either before the president banned it or after. So I think we need to be very, very, very specific and very sincere to ourselves. That at least with whatever you gave us in January, and whatever little harvest you have harvested in February or so, the second harvest, I think you couldn't have been in a situation where you are, despite the fact that at least the border maize that used to come, as you have said, that is one factor that you may have counted on, but never be. But just give us, that is where we need to understand, so that at least we can be able to move to the importation and the interventions.
For figures, yes, you have something.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not helping the minister.
You are supposed to, that's why you are there.
Okay,
you are supposed to.
I think, let me say this. The figures we are talking about of January is data collected by our technical officers using the most appropriate methods of counting and assessing, the number of grains we have, particularly on maize. And those figures, indeed, as the minister has put it, in December, it was 10 million. But come January, and I think as the minister has put it, what will happen is that the short rain harvests, that's the short rains October, November, December, January, which usually takes about 3-4 months for the maize to be harvested. We have an assessment undertaken and we get the results in February. And I think that's the time we were assessing that our production was seriously depressed. And that's why we mentioned that probably we are going to get specific figures, that probably farmers had 4.4 million bags, traders had about 5.5 million bags, and I think we're even going to get more details on that. So come that period, we knew end of May we will not have enough maize. And Honorable Chair, that's why we took some serious steps by government. One was to declare the drought, because during that period we were assessing about 3 million Kenyans who were starving, who are not going to have food, and therefore some of these interventions was actually to sort out the problem of the drought. Now, we also, on 13th of April, we actually waived duty of all maize imported to Kenya. And we did not specify it should be imported by millers. We did not specify to be imported by specific companies. We said anyone can import maize without duty to Kenya. And indeed, Honorable Chair, I have the Gazette notice here, which was very, very specific. This was an intervention to help us mop up maize wherever it was in the world, duty-free to Kenya, to meet this gap, which we knew after May we are going to have shortage of maize. And I think let's be specific, Honorable Chair. We are talking about only maize. When you talk about other food crops, we have other food crops in the country. But it's maize which is stable for probably most, I think, middle class and maybe elites in this country, particularly shifted maize. That's actually causing us this problem. When you talk about even the maize being held by our farmers, as we speak now, any maize growing area in this country, farmers and households are still holding maize. I come from Samburu West, even not as a PS, as a farmer. I have got 15 bags of maize in my house, and every villager in that area has got not less than 1 bag. The whole of North Rift, South Rift, Bungoma, Western Kenya, our farmers who grow maize have kept them in their stores and their galleries. They have maize. But what we are saying here, we are saying that specifically for this sector and this area, we have a shortage. And this is why we gave Kenyans to import the maize. And therefore what has happened is that, Honorable Chair, is that people and international companies imported the maize. And that's the maize now we are struggling to deal with. But as you speak, now in this country, since yesterday, we have 980 bags of 90 kilograms maize in this country. About 700, 800 of it is actually from National Strategic Food Reserve. Our businessmen and I think millers and even small millers are holding about 110. We are talking about 980,000 bags of maize. That 980,000 bags of maize is enough to provide us with shifted maize meal up to 29th of May of this month. And therefore, what we are working on as a government is actually to see how now do we continue providing, on a sustainable manner, this shifted maize meal and probably even additional maize for Kenyans up to when we get our next crop in October. So I just wanted to put this into perspective for Honorable Chair, that, and I want to confirm, we have 980,000 bags. This is actually our own maize. And that's 980 that we started yesterday, putting it in the market on a subsidized program. And subsidy, Honorable Chair, and I think maybe you will also help us here. This Parliament and this House has always gone out of its way to support our farmers, providing subsidy programs. It has provided subsidy when it comes to tractors, provided subsidy when it comes to seedlings and fertilizer. So this time around, because of the fact that there is no maize in the world today, in fact, you Google, white maize cannot be found. It is inelastic commodity. It's a commodity that can only be found at one period, and it disappears because it's only destined to Africa. White maize. The rest of the world is consuming GMO maize and yellow maize. So what's happening is that because of this, the prices have skyrocketed, spiked. It is now, all of us know, it's about 5,000 shillings per bag. And what we are saying is that we're trying to negotiate to see how we can mop up all maize, wherever it is, so that we can actually make this subsidy program for our Kenyan people, consumers, to get maize meal at 90 shillings per 2 kilogram packet.
Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, there's a terminology I want to follow up from this PS. They are using a terminology here called mobbing. Mopping the maize from the traders, from the farmers. One thing that I want to come clear, if you're using this terminology to buy maize from where they are holding it, are we considering our farmers because, as you have said,
even you still have about 15,000 bags, 15 bags in your household. And you know there are some other farmers who are still maybe having the same. How come that now in your planning, you want to subsidize the traders first? And you are thinking you want to subsidize the traders like now, these millers who have imported, you are buying from them at a cost of 4,300. And yet our farmers that you have confessed are still having maize in their house, including you. You cannot pay them 4,300, and you want to still pay them 2,500. Now, can you be able to tell me this definition of what? Mobbing. Are you mobbing only from the traders who are rich? And if these traders were also holding their stocks, as per the last time the CS came, which means they still have 5.5 million bags. And again, you gave them the free hand to import free of charge, which means now they should have more than what we need. How come that Wanjiku cannot get affordable price of unga? It's still from 100 to 180 to 90. What game are you really playing with our farmers and these traders? And who are these traders? Who are these millers who are milking money from the taxpayers instead of our farmers benefiting? We need these people, people like Stan Waves. We want these names because we know them. A whole band. We just want these people who you have subsidized them at 4,300. And my farmer. Sorry, but I want him just to understand, Chair, this terminology.
Yes.
If it is a matter of, mopping, why don't we start mopping in Rift Valley, pay them 4,300?
That's a good question.
I don't know if you get me.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Thank you, Chair.
Don't dilute it. I think, in essence, maybe 1 bag, 2 bags are not for commercial purposes, but they are not there to be mopped out of the market. But nevertheless, yes.
Okay,
I think whatever you have mentioned, it was these pricings. If you have raised the price, which I really am not sure, to 4,300. Or could there be any other maize that is left still being held, the way you are assuming or the way you have really said? What is the amount of maize that is being held? Is it for commercial purpose, or it is 1 bag, 2 bags, 5 bags that way you have paid for, by the farmers for their own consumption? So please be specific about it, so that at least you don't confuse that. At least there is still maize, and you are importing maize, and at a different price and subsidizing. So I know you are between 2 catches, because one time you have to protect the farmers. On the other hand, you have to feed the consumers. So just please come out clear about it.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Uta. Okay, on the issue of mopping or on the issue of acquisition, whatever probably the terminology is, what I want to say is first is that as a government and as a state, we have moral obligation and a national obligation to feed our Kenyans. And I want to say that it has to happen within the confines of law. But one thing that is overriding, we cannot allow prices to skyrocket. We cannot allow Kenyans not to have food on their table because of probably failure, whatever the reasons, either it's natural disaster, which is rain, or whatever reasons, whether it's failure to plan, we have really to undertake this. But I want to say this, on the issue of the maize that is being held by our households, basically, some of it, in some instances probably sold, but actually it's very, very domestic. But the point remains that they hold it for their own domestic consumption. And that's why probably when we hear the cry, and probably even if we do a proper assessment and even survey, you can actually tell where is the noise coming from about this shifted maize. But otherwise, in that village of mine, yes, I want to emphasize, and I think even where our Honorable Uta comes from, people still carry 1 tin, 2 tins, to Korokoro, to Agerekereko, grind the maize, and come and make their ugali. But all the same, the point here is that he has mentioned that we had specific people in mind or specific companies. Honorable Chair, our consumption per month of maize is 3 million bags. 3 million bags per month. And this is something that has been done, empirical evidence and proper estimates. So even if we talk about 5.5 million in January, 3 million per month means that it's actually 1.5 months or 2 months down the road. So what I want to confirm here, and Honorable Chair, I think we need to be trusted, as government officers and honorable people. There is no way you can come and cheat Kenyans and cheat Parliament like this. There is no maize that is remaining in this country that's going to take us up to the end of May. No miller, except a few ones. A few who are holding probably maybe 10. In fact, one thing I can even be specific. The only maize that was in the hands of the miller, small and big, as at last week, was 110 bags. 110,000 bags. And this can be verified by KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority. They have got the mechanism, the framework to actually ascertain this. Therefore, I want to confirm that the maize, which one thing is that, as the Gazette notice says, we did not give this to specific millers, to specific companies. What we said was that initially we thought people will import and the prices will come down. It has not come down. Whatever we have done now, in fact, with the maize we are buying, we have already established an interministerial negotiating team using the government laid down procurement procedures to actually get maize, negotiate with the traders, and even Kenyans, if Kenyans have the maize today. In fact, as we speak now, yesterday we logged in a price per bag from the maize that has actually arrived in this country. And we are buying a bag at 3,600 Kenya shillings. And we are ready to have any maize from any Kenyan, from anywhere, at 3,600, and we are buying it at that price. It's even subsidized. The prices you are seeing in Nairobi, in Dar es Salaam, is not less than 4,200. But we are saying the maize we are buying, and I want to Honorable Uta to take it from me, it is 3,600. This is 3,600 per 90 kilogram bag. And that is the maize we are subsidizing. And the subsidy is actually 1,300 per bag. And therefore, what I want to say here is, we are ready for scrutiny. The procurement is there, the interministerial teams are there, they are actually working on it. KRA is there. Therefore, I think this impression created that we are buying maize at 4,600, in fact, even some instances 5,000 per bag, is unacceptable, it is wrong, it's misplaced, and actually we should not be actually condemned because it's actually, it's not true. We are buying at 3,600 as we speak now, and we intend going forward, given the situation, as we continue getting more maize, wherever we're going to get it, we are going to negotiate. If the prices will come down, well and good. If they'll go up, we shall see how we're going to handle this. But one thing I want to reiterate, Honorable Chair, as a government, we are not going to allow Kenyans to buy maize meal at 150 shillings. We have decided they'll have to buy it at 90 shillings, a subsidized price. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Oshali.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies for coming in late. Chair, also pardon me for sitting very close to the ministry. I am still part
Honorable Oshali, Minister of the Day, I didn't get the speech.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I am among the members of this committee who are very passionate on these food stocks. Chair, and I also want to just remind you that food security has nothing to do with the political parties. It's something that we need to address as a country. Chair, when we raised this issue, both in December and February, our Cabinet Secretary said that he has a scientific way of finding out the stocks, both in our stores and also with farmers. I've also been around long enough to know, Chair, that we had a policy in this country, a policy that said that immediately stocks, especially the SFR, fall below 8 million, then an alarm is raised. Because 8 million bags should be able to last this country approximately 2 months and 2 months and a half. Now, Chairman, what is happening is that the alarm is being raised when we don't have anything in the stores. My question, which I want to put squarely on the Cabinet Secretary, because the issue of policy is domesticated in his ministry. What happened? Why did we have to fall below 8 million bags in our stores
for him to raise an alarm, because if that was raised early enough, then the issue, this emergency will not be as intense as it is today. Therefore, Chair, I just wanted to find out the policy in the ministry in as far as food security is concerned.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Shali. Bwana CS, for us to make progress, let's not go into a lot of storytelling. Let's respond to some of these questions. And also, I want to beg members that you ask direct questions. As you answer Mheshimiwa Shali's question, I want you to tie it with the question I asked. How many bags are we holding right now? That question has not been properly answered. How many are we still holding now? Because as per January or December, you told this committee that we had enough food up to and including 31st of May 2017. But what is now going to the shelves, you have to come clear on that, is what has been imported the other day, including what was milled yesterday for 90 shillings, and then also the issue of the price. Members, let's be very brief in these questions asking. There is also Mheshimiwa Florence question. What was it about? Can you repeat your question so that it is answered? The interventions have been...
The issue of the drought. They had been warned about the drought by the weathermen over a long time of period. The only intervention... Yeah,
Maybe another one is the issue of gazettement. You have said you have gazetted for anyone to import. Surely, I thought it was, we are a country that is guided by policy, a country that has its own legal mechanisms in place. How do you just advertise and open what we call floodgates? Suppose we have 100 million bags in this country. Where will it be stored?
Thank you very much, Chairman. Our policy requires that we have 4 million bags in stock and 4 million worth in cash. That is how the 8 million comes about. Let me throw you back, Chairman. We had 4 million bags in our grain SFR. But what had happened, this is grain which had been carried over for a very long time. And last year, we undertook a cleaning mechanism and even approved that some of the grain had actually deteriorated in quality to the extent that we had to sell it for animal feed. So in that process of cleaning up, that is how the stocks came down to what we communicated to this committee in the meeting of February. The holdings now, Chairman, is 980,000. We have not milled any imported consignment. What we are milling and what you are seeing in the shops now is what we are holding in the country, which is 980,000 bags, of which we have started subsidizing, and this is what you're getting at 90 shillings in the shelves. Now,
Hold on there, so that the members do not ask you this question.
Yes.
Are you saying what you are milling is what was
in SFR?
SFR?
Yes.
Therefore, what you have actually subsidized, because the millers are the ones doing it, is what was already here, not what has been imported.
As we are going to subsidize.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you answer that?
As
yes
we
or
speak
no?
now, yes. As we speak now, yes. So maybe I can continue to answer. The cassettement is, when we waived duty, we didn't waive duty for so and so. We waived duty for anybody who would import maize to this country. And that is why we didn't want to go into the process of tendering and deciding who should import and who should not import. So because we required a specific amount of grain, 5 million. So it followed then, by the time we achieve our 5 million, our subsidy program or the duty waiver is stopped. And we are monitoring very closely with KRA to ensure that what comes to this country under duty waiver, and also under this subsidy program should not exceed 5 million bags, because we have calculated and realized that is the cap which is existing in the country for things to normalize. We will still monitor the situation, because weatherman is still giving
Point
us
of order,
info.
Chairman. Point of order, Chairman.
Yes.
Chairman, it's good for the CS to put it straight. In the Kenya Gazette, did it specifically say anybody?
I think we can circulate.
Yeah, we can. And how many bags in the Kenya Gazette?
We can circulate, but we didn't put the number of bags in the Kenya Gazette. What is happening is we have our mechanism through KRA to know how many are we going. In fact,
Our concern is, Chairman, our concern is if you give...
because every intervention we are doing is
Point
based
of order,
on the 5
Bwana CS. I think what the member is asking is the issue of how many bags did you tender for? Right.
It's on the same, Mr. Chairman. You know, the moment you put an open-ended gazette, Panacea, there's a likelihood of abuse. Unless you withdraw this gazette and you be specific. It also shows lack of planning on part of your ministry, a lack of specifics, a lack of knowing for how long. This gazette is open-ended forever. Even when we have enough maize in the country, it is likely to be abused.
It is not your chairman, because we used, instead of saying, we used the period, yes.
Hold on, Bwana CS. There is another member to ask, and then you answer all of them, please.
Chair, sorry for coming late. It's very interesting. PS and CS. First of all, I think I come from North Rift, as you know, and this question has not been answered properly. The fact that PS has accepted I was a farmer from North Rift, I have close to 1,000 bags in my store. That is still sitting there because the ministry has not come up clean. They have not encouraged the locals to release whatever. Because when I farm, Chair, it's for two purposes. Use it as a food crop or a commercial crop. That's the purpose of me having 1,000. I just come from Kitale. I have 1,000 bags in my store. Now what there is that I was expecting that the price will come up good. The ministry would encourage the locals. That's what my colleagues are asking. We ask the locals to release the money. In fact, why are we going out of our way to go and get maize from, I don't know what source, Mexico, South Africa, name it, India, whatever there is, when we have maize in our store? You have not encouraged the locals to release whatever stocks are holding. And therefore the question that is coming up, that's what Ruth is asking, and I just want to ask you, and my colleague has said the same thing, don't just say, bring in whatever. Because you are caught in inconvenience, those so-called traitors, in quotes, I don't know who they are, he come and said, according to your notice, I'm supposed to bring. And yes, you are telling us that you have a mechanism of restricting what comes in. Come out clean, say we want given. By the way, the biggest problem in the ministry today is your extension service officers out there. They are not giving you the right information. Because we should have actually had this information right from the beginning. In fact, members of this committee who don't even have family here. This something. So can you therefore,
you have made your point. Let the CS respond.
Can you therefore tell us what we can do to mop, as the PS said, whatever we are holding out there, so we can see the deficit and be able to bring in extra food?
Thank you, Chair. If we all remember what happened, when we were doing the intervention, even the release of the first 1 million from the strategic grain reserve, I made it very clearly, and I was appealing to Kenyans because we had noticed some big farmers and some traders were still holding. And we were telling them, please release all what you have. We said it severally, I even warned it in or through media that anybody who is still holding grain would burn their fingers. I announced that. And Honorable Member for Honorable Wanyonyi, yes. If you are still holding up to this point, it gets to prove, because you are just among the many farmers who could also be holding, it shows that if we leave the situation the way it is, because as we speak now, before the intervention of import, the price of 190 kilogram bag was headed for 5,000. Up to how level would you release, Honorable Wanyonyi, your 1,000 bags? Is it when it hits 7,000 or 10,000? And where will the consumer be at that point in time? And that is why we decided as government enough is enough, because this price was going up, and the local maize, as we have told you, was the one causing. If you are holding it, then we cannot come to your houses and force you to release it. Our assumption now is there is no maize, and we have to feed Kenyans. We have to bring in maize from outside.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Let PS supplement the CS.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think on the issue of the Gazette notice, yeah, it is true that the Gazette notice did not give the limit of 5 million, and we acknowledge that we need to do this, and it's not going to take us probably more than 2 days. We shall actually Gazette. We require 5 million.
And the time frame too. And the time
yes,
frame.
so that and the time frame is there, but the 5 million is not there. We are going to indicate it. However, just as a rider, we are receiving our food balance sheet results by the end of this week. That's actually by tomorrow. If the situation will probably demand any other extra efforts, we'll still probably even come to you and even inform Kenyans. But I also want to answer the question from Honorable Wanyonyi. Honorable Wanyonyi, if you have maize, we told you the last time we were buying at 2,300, you refused. We gave you 2,500, you refused. We gave you 3,000, you refused. We have got depots in every part of our county, of our country. And therefore, what we have now is 3,600. Please bring the maize, we shall buy it. And we are telling all Kenyans, bring that maize at 3,600, we shall buy it. And we shall stop any maize coming outside this country, and we use yours.
Can we do this then? With the pleasure, I'm going to instruct so that I can be able to send to the National Insurance Board. Now, can you do there of this? I did not get that information, much as I'm also a member of this committee. What about a farm out there? All I'm saying, listen, all I'm saying, the media, whatever means you are using to inform those who are holding, I think should be very explicit. So I think maybe you think you have talked to the nation, to Standard, to Star, and the radio, as some people are holding. So your extension service officers on the ground should be able to assist you to mop. I think they're not doing a good job.
Okay, thank you. I think, honorable members, one thing is becoming almost clear that whatever the minister was saying that there's still maize being held is coming out. It is becoming the fact that Kenyans are still holding maize, and I think we are appealing to them to release those maize. And I remember the minister at one time, I think around March, April, going to the press and saying, please release the maize with a price of 3,000 shillings now. Or otherwise, not now. I mean that time it was 3,000 shillings that they were buying. The serious board were buying. But nevertheless, with that maize still in Kenya, then this is the situation that we are in, and we have to intervene. So that one is, I think, it's very clear now. The price has been indicated. Whoever is holding it can be able to release. Secondly, on the issue of production, I think we have a problem in terms of also the devolution has a role to play, because agriculture being devolved and production being part fully the responsibility of the counties. I think also they also have a role to play in that aspect, despite the fact of the weather, which is a natural calamity that they cannot do much about it. But in terms of resource allocations also, I think there's an issue that between the two levels of government, something must be done in terms of addressing the production factor. Then I give to please let me give.
Allow me to answer the warning of the weather and the issue of the drought. When the warning happened, Chair, when the warning of the drought happened, we took it very seriously. We monitored the situation, and that is why by January, by end of January, we were sure that whatever we had in store would not last us the whole haul. So it was a confirmation. So the warning, we took it very seriously. By then, we had planted the short rain crop. So what we were to do, therefore, is, and we went ahead, Honorable Member, to supply our Kenyans with some drought-tolerant seeds, because we already knew the drought is imminent and the rains, in fact, the weatherman said the rains are going to be very depressed. And so we went ahead and supplied 750,000 metric tons of drought-tolerant seeds so that we could mitigate on that situation. The only problem is the rainfall pattern still insisted, and therefore that seed did not actually translate into food because the rains were depressed even further. So we took measures, and that is why the final resort was to feed Kenyans through bringing in maize from outside.
Thank you. Honorable Trent. Honorable Trent.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to say I'm also happy with the idea that now they need to put a limit on the importation so that we protect our farmer, because I was a bit worried on the way it was left open, which I think that has been clarified. I also want to add on a few things. The PS mentioned clearly that they want to protect the consumer. And talking about protecting the consumer is that they don't want the prices to go high or to become very high. But looking at it, when the government, or rather when the ministry released maize, I think the 1 million bags of maize, the alarm had been raised by the millers that there was no maize, or rather the maize that was in the country was to only last for less than a week. And when we released the 1 million bags, and I remember very well asking some question later, after some time, the millers had only bought about 200,000 bags. And that was after almost a month. So my question was, the alarm was actually false or something like that, but they were trying to actually bring importation, but the ministry did not allow the importation. But the interesting thing is that after the 3 weeks, they had not bought any maize. That means they were lying to us. The other question is that the prices, when you look at the price of 3,000 shillings at that time, vis-a-vis compare the conversion factor and how much they were selling the 2 kilograms bag of maize meal. If the PS is saying they wanted to consider also the consumer, I think the price of 3,000 shillings per bag, did it actually come out to, did the consumer benefit to that price? Because if you convert that price, I think still at the 90 shillings, the prices are still quite reasonable comparing the 90 shillings per 2 kilos. So is it actually, is the consumer benefiting, or are we benefiting the middleman or the millers? The other thing is that it has come out very clearly now that the price of maize now is 3,600. If any farmer has the maize, should actually cereal should be buying at 3,600. We want Kenyans to benefit, but are we going to be looking at the price when the miller, or rather when the miller makes noise that there is no maize, or the price, or the prices are not good, and yet the consumer is also suffering, and yet the farmer has always been selling their maize at 3,000 shillings, 2,300, 2,500. Does it come out well that if the prices are 3,000, when they mill the one bag 3,000, how much, what's the margin the miller is making, so that we are able to assist the consumer? Finally, there is also milk. Milk is about 70 shillings now. Is it half a liter? I just want to bring up that question because they are saying they want to protect the consumer. No, I just want to add into that because you see, if they want to also protect the consumer is now buying maize at around 70 shillings per half liter, and yet the farmer is being paid 20 shillings per half liter. So they also want to look at that, so that we also think of maybe having a board that controls the prices so that the consumer does not suffer.
Good. I think this country has a liberalized market. Honorable Ndemalo.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Mine is just a simple one. Yeah, with the explanation given by the CS and the PS. Okay, now we appreciate actually the initiative taken by the government to ensure that food is available. I mean, maize is available and through importation, and of course at affordable prices for the common man. That's what we appreciate. Now, knowing the behavior of Kenyans, particularly the business people, that they take advantage of situations like now the crisis that we are going through. Do you foresee a situation where the traders and the millers are going to hold this maize with the hope that probably now there will be more demand and therefore increase the prices? How do you address our situation?
Two, what assurance are you giving the Kenyans that the imported maize is not GMO?
Yes, Chairman.
Let's be a bit systematic, honorable members. Let's deal with the issue of the crisis and then come to the issue of the solution. I think if we move up and then come back again, move forward, backward, I think we're not going to bring this thing to an end. So can we deal with the issue and finalize with the issue of the shortage? How did it arise? I think the minister has explained. And then how do we mitigate the issue of drought? He has explained. So can we be able to deal with the issue of the causes of shortage or this crisis in the first place, and then come to the issue of importation? So are we through with the issue of shortage? What is the cause? I think that one has been explained enough. So can we move? Yes.
Chair,
Yeah, if you have an issue, just ask. I want to close that one and move to importation.
Chair, you know, I've been triggered by the response that we have had from the PS and the CSF, where they have been changing the prices of back. And I want to sympathize with those farmers who sold their produce at 2,500. Because right now the price has gone to 3,600. And I think the farmers who are holding their stocks have a good reason. They wanted to get more. There's nobody who would not want to get more. What is the policy? I think it is very important that the ministry comes out with a policy that would encourage farmers, other than encouraging farmers to hold stocks. Because what is coming out clearly is that farmers knew that if they held their stock, eventually they'll get more out of it. Now, and indeed it has come to pass that indeed those ones who sold less, who sold at 2,500, are going to lose for the same crop. What is the policy of the ministry? Are they meant to encourage farmers to farm and then sell? Or they are encouraging farmers to farm and then hold until when there's a crisis and then sell to the government? I think there's a problem with the policy, Chair.
Willing buyer, willing seller.
Yeah, that's all.
You sell at 2,300 because you have it. The scarcity, you sold at 3,600, you keep it. I think let's cross this bridge. I think the government has a responsibility to protect the farmer, give them the price that they want, at the expense of the consumers who are also Kenyans who need to be protected. So you have got those two acts to balance. Yeah. So, but the fact that at least the farmer cannot be paid a high price and he holds, then I think we look at the cost of production, and then we look at what we are paying the farmers, and then we look at what the consumers are. I think, but the aspect of now controlling the price, at least what did you buy and what did you selling? I think that one, they have no limitations. It's a market which controls the price. So please let's not just go into those. Yes, John.
Yeah. Where is the Gazette notice, Chair? I want to see it. Chair.
Gazette notice is everywhere. Yes, John. John. Honorable Ashali. No, the willing buyer, willing seller is.
Chair, Chair, it is my proposal that we go into the issues of not actually solutions. Yes, solutions by the ministry, especially the subsidies. And my concern is who is being subsidized, and what measure has been put there to determine that subsidy amount. These are some of the things that Kenyans are asking, Chairman, outside there. Who is being subsidized? Is it the importer? Is it the miller? Or is it the consumer? If it is the consumer, how does it trickle to the consumer? These are some of the questions, Chair, that I'm so much interested as a member of this particular committee, Chair.
Can we move to the subsidy issue and the importation process so that at least we can proceed? Honorable Kicher, what is it?
Before that, Chair, I think we in our contribution should really give a way forward in terms of the future challenges that we are facing in the same sector. Chair, the main problem with this, we are from a region where farmers and our constituents are farmers of maize. Chair, we have, unless we put in place regulations to control the millers, they are the ones who determine on the prices. They are the ones who create this shortage perception, artificial shortage, even when it is not there, Chair. We want regulations in place that are going to regulate the same millers to have a price that will be competent in the market in terms of taking care of the welfare of the farmers. At the same time, the consumers are protected. But when we leave, Chair, to this, I was about to use the word crooks, millers. They are serious crooks, Chair, because the shortage they normally create every year is artificial. It has never been real. It is for their own benefit. That is the same shortage they are using to hike the prices of the same maize. Chair, it is upon us as members of this committee plus the ministry to ensure that we put in place regulations that are going to regulate the millers so that we protect farmers and take care of the interest of the consumers. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair.
Please, we need to close this.
I know, Chair, you want to us to wind up, but Chair,
last one.
Since the CS and the PS has confirmed the nation that the subsidized price now they will pay at 3,600. 3,600, Chair. Chair, would I be in order? Chair, I don't know if you're listening to me. Chair, if that is the standard that they have set, that they will subsidize all the importers, including the so-called farmers and traders at 3,600. Chair, would I be in order to know how much did they subsidize the following millers? The whole bird, I want to know, because they have already imported, how much did you subsidize them? I want to know how much did you subsidize Pembe? I want to know how much did you subsidize Kitui Miller? I want to know how much did you subsidize, this is called what? Hydrapi. And I want to know how much did you subsidize Stanwave millers by tabling that agreement of subsidy if it is not 4,300. Because we have the sources. And if you want to challenge me, just table it down, how much you subsidize it before the committee by the end of today. Then I'll be able to believe that what you are telling Kenya, that your subsidy is at 3,600, then I would apologize if you'd be able to bring all this documentation. Because we know for sure. Why is it that it is open-ended for each and everyone to bring maize in this country? And yet these few people that I've mentioned are the one who had their maize on the high, what we call them, high seas. They had their maize on the high seas. No one was informed, but as soon as you declare something, the maize was in Mombasa at 4,300. I want to see that documentation, Chair.
I think I think for the purpose of record, I think let's deal with one thing at a time. I think if you go to window period and then he has asked a question, I think it's mixing up. Let's follow up one question. Yeah, I'll come to that one.
Something to follow up plus the quantities plus the quantities in each meal. Yeah, plus the quantities.
2,000. That's what is the negative statement. 2,000 bags. How much do these people are allowed to bring a whole ship load?
Okay, Honorable Minister, I think let's move to the importation. Because I think you explained who imported, how was it imported, what is the government role, at what stage do you subsidize, how much did you subsidize and at what cost? Because now Honorable Owuta is talking about subsidy of 3,600. I think that is the price. That is the price of the maize, not the subsidy. So let's be very clear. I think let's not mix up issues. The price of the maize is 3,600. And the minister said he subsidized 1,300 for them to sell at 2,300 to reduce the price for the consumers to 90 shillings per 2 kg bags. So let's understand and let's not misunderstand the whole thing and then maybe
Let me repeat it.
mislead the whole nation. So just become clear. Start with the element of now importation, specifically the sheep that has arrived, and then we move to how do you intend to sustain that.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. It is very important that we clear this issue, Chairman. The ship that has arrived is just among, and it arrived after waiving duty for a whole 1 month. That ship arrived after we waived the duty for millers and everybody to import maize.
Just to be specific, Honorable Minister, just say the Gazette notice dated is this date, and the ship arrived in this date, so that at least people, Kenyans can understand you, because just be specific and move to the word to
the Gazette notice is on 13th of April. From 13th of April up to Friday last week when the ship came, I mean, anybody who is serious in doing business must have had enough time to bring. In fact, for us, even as government, we had anticipated that in 1 month, the imported maize would arrive in this country. As we speak now, we know there are other ships which are coming, but it looks like they are even logistical. We should have received even most of the maize by now. So it is not like the ship appeared 3 days as I hear in some quarters after the Gazette notice. It was actually 13, and the notice, we have circulated it. The notice of waiver was on 13th of April. Between 13th of April up to...
That's enough,
Yes.
Minister. If you have given that period could be enough for anybody to bring maize.
To bring maize to this country.
Yeah, from 13th April is when the Gazette notice, the waiver was given on 13th April, and the first maize has arrived around 13th of May. That's the period of 1 month. Yeah, so at least it is not, I think, that somebody just brought in the day that the Gazette notice was fixed. So
exactly.
That one must be clear. That Kenyans need to mislead. Yeah.
That one will challenge.
Yeah.
But we will challenge that. And it is only specific millers who have this knowledge to have them bring the maize.
How can it be specific here when the notice is published?
Order. I think Kenya Gazette notice is not a secret to anybody. It's an open document. Let's be very sincere. But Honorable Minister, just move on to explain what is it that at least the government intervention between the miller and the importer. Just give that.
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I think to be brief, Chair, let me maybe come in. Chair, I have asked this issue of subsidy. Can we be told what informs that amount per bag, that amount that the government has to meet, and who is the beneficiary?
Thank you.
Tell us that, because this is...
No, on the Mombasa Road. I think let's know what the government meets first of all. In fact, you are jumping the gun. What is the government meeting in terms of subsidy, so that at least we can come to what informs that or amount of subsidy. Then I think
now let me begin. Allow me to respond to these questions, Chair. The person the government is subsidizing is the consumer, knowing that we have also been subsidizing the producers. We have been subsidizing farmers with fertilizer. In a situation where the prices of flour is going up, I mean, the government has the right to subsidize the consumer as well, because they are also Kenyans. So what we are doing is, we realized at this point in time, we want the consumer to access 2 kilogram flour at 90 shillings. That is how we worked out the subsidy. How then can we facilitate the consumer to access this flour at 90 shillings? It therefore means we need to know how much will 90 kilogram bag cost the miller so that they can avail the flour at 90 shillings. Because as we speak now, in the market, the cost of 90 kilograms is going at 4,200, 4,100. In some cases, it was even 4,600. And that is the reason why it had pushed the prices to 150 shillings per 2 kilogram bag. But here is a situation where we want the consumer to pay 90 shillings. That was the beginning point. Now, we had opened we waive duty for private sector to bring in grain. By the time they were bringing in, if you leave it like that, even the duty itself could not benefit a farmer, because what would prevent an importer to come and sell their grain at the same 4,100, 4,200? Nothing would stop them. We would have allowed them to import and still continue selling. That is why government had to come in and say, we have to be sure.
Waziri, just tell us, this ship which came in, the price that the importer was selling was this much to the millers, and subsidy to the millers is this much, and total this subsidy also cost the taxpayers this much.
Exactly.
I think just be specific on this matter so that we can be very clear.
Correct.
The importers imported maize at whatever price they wanted, and they wanted to take advantage of the situation.
Right.
So how have you intervened and really assisted the situation so that at least we can get the 90 shillings per 2 kg?
Thank you, Chair. The ship which has docked now had grain which had already been signed by millers. The ship which came had contracts with millers, which is Pembe.
On a point of order, Chair, can we just even have, for example, the Kitui millers? We have just, released their maize. Could you just use that as an example? How much they paid for this maize? How much did the government subsidize? How much did you pay in total?
Yeah.
Just take Kitui millers. I know they have already docked.
No,
just
for
for example, Chair, just to get us, just an example. Yeah, just an example for Kitui millers or...
Order.
Okay.
Waziri, I think let's not pick on a specific because if there is a specific, if they vary, if they vary from one miller to the other, then he will tell us. But if it is just across the board, that is a policy that you are subsidizing this much, there's only why we should pick on.
It is across the board,
yeah.
Including the Kitui millers, including Pembe, including anybody who had signed up for that ship.
Yeah, please just explain that.
The ship which came had 29,000 metric tons of grain. And inside, among the 29, various millers were supposed to take it up. They had signed contracts with the importer so that they could take it up. And what we realized is some of the contracts which had been signed was for 4,100 shillings per 90 kilogram bag. In some others, they had signed 3,400 shillings. So what we did is, because it was not our cargo.
Point of order, Chair.
We came in now so that
order.
we could subsidize.
Point of order, Chair. So that we go systematically. Who was the importer? Just tell us, so-and-so has imported this much. And this is what the subsidy is, as follows. So that we don't go back
If you bear with me, Chair, I had proposed that the CS tabled the documentation of all these importers before the end of the day if you want to challenge my subsidy of what they've been telling Kenyans. To tell you that what they have subsidized is even more than what they are telling us now. So that's why I'm proposing, Chair, somebody should second, that by the end of the day, all these importers that I've mentioned, they should table the document before this committee. So then we scrutinize and know exactly how the taxpayers have paid for this.
We will table, Chairman. We have
By the end of the day, Chair.
We have all the documents. This thing has been done above board, Chairman. It has been in the ministerial committee. So there's nothing. We will table the documents. I wish we had come with it. We'll table it even this afternoon.
Chair, given that, I think Auta has a point. To save you the agony of explaining, bring the table, the documents, we'll look at them and we'll ask you, so that if there are some questions that we have, I think it's quite right, we'll ask you later on. Can you do that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I don't intend to disagree with
I don't know what document you have, by the way, because you are not an importer.
Don't worry.
But give us.
Yes, I just wanted to make one or two comments.
No, I have to worry.
I think one thing I wanted to say, Honorable Chair, is
what document I
that
expect of you.
I just want to beg for your indulgence that let's not condemn, all millers in this country. I think not all of them are criminals, not all of them are crooks. I think the truth of the matter is we have got big millers and we have got small millers. Some of them are honest Kenyans who actually struggle, to actually create wealth and make themselves,
Chair.
So I think it will be useful because that issue has been raised, and I think I wanted to correct it.
Yes, I think, excuse me, Chair. I think, yes, nobody's condemning anybody.
Order, please.
That's really misguiding Kenyans. He cannot come here and protect us.
Order, please.
Well, the taxpayers.
Honorable Uta.
What are you trying to clarify to this committee?
Order,
We have not condemned, if you allow me.
Please, order, Honorable Uta, please.
Allow me
Let's be orderly, please. Let's be orderly first, and then you prosecute your case, please. Just be orderly, because you seems to be getting. There's nothing to get angry about.
We are angry. Kenyans are hungry, and this is what you're trying to be.
It's not personal issue. It's not a
It's
personal
very
issue.
personal for me because my grandma cannot be able to buy a ugali.
I hope we are all here to represent the people, gentlemen. I think let's be orderly. I think Honorable Outa has asked for a specific, very pertinent question of. I challenge you to produce a document that at least whatever price you have subsidized is not 3.6, but it is 4,100. I think it's a very specific thing. What is out of order?
I think the PS must withdraw about the protecting the millers. Every Kenyan knows that majority or most of them are crooks. They are the reason why we have high prices and farmers have a low pay.
I'm still getting more money.
I think he's the wrong person to defend millers. Millers are the ones who have created all these artificial shortages, and that is the reason why we were proposing to make regulations that are going to protect Kenyans in terms of regulating the millers from artificial.
Order. I think the PS has not protected. PS has not protected the millers.
Yes, that's the truth. I just want to clarify that.
The only issue that he has said is not all the millers are crooks, and don't condemn in totality. That's the word he used. And I'm sure that not everybody who is in milling is crooks. They may be always in any human. They are crooks who are there. So please, let's not crucify the PS for that purpose, because you. Honorable Uta, please, just we can move the way you guys are wanting to prosecute this matter. No.
Chair.
No, please.
Chair. Matter of procedure, Chair.
Just a moment, Honorable.
Matter of procedure, Chair.
Just Honorable Sarut. Let's speak.
Chair, for us to proceed.
There's a member who wants to speak. And
No, just 1 second.
No,
procedure.
Let me have order first. Unless I have order, I will not give to any member.
Thank you very much, Chair. But I also want to support.
No, Honorable, no. Please. Let's be orderly. Unless we are orderly, we cannot move.
Okay, Chair. Let me just request.
Chair, matter of procedure.
What is the procedure?
Chair, I want to beg my colleagues, and very sincerely beg them, that we allow the CS to make comments, present his data, who are the importers, at what rate, how much are they, and then we can raise questions. But let us not take the cart before the horse.
Exactly. I just want to add one thing, Chair, and I think I mentioned earlier, just a few minutes ago, that look at the price of maize and what we are subsidizing the millers, and what is the price of the 2 kilos. Because you see, at the end of the day, that's why we are saying the millers are the ones who have really shortchanged Kenyans. Yeah. We are not protecting anybody, or we are not defending anybody, but look at the cost of product or what they are using to mill that one bag. And look at the margins they are making vis-a-vis compared to what Kenyans are getting. We are now using taxpayers' money to subsidize the same millers, and yet the common and the consumer is suffering. So that is my only issue, Chairman. I just want us also, so that if we are helping Kenyans and are supporting Kenyans, let us look at the margin the miller is also getting. That's all I'm asking.
Honorable, just be there, Honorable Train. You are maize farmer, you know. Just put yourself in where the minister is. Just tell us what you have done.
Well, the PS and the minister have just said that they don't want to see Kenyans suffer buying expensive maize, flour at 160, 150, and they've reduced it to 90 shillings. Mm-hmm. What is the conversion factor of the 90 kilogram bag of maize? How much are they going to get of flour? What is the price at the consumer level? What is the margin the miller is making? Tell us, to give us those facts.
What is the farmer's price?
Chair, I think we cannot continue with this meeting. Chair, this meeting is getting out of hand. Chair, I think we are not.
We can start with the conversion factor. What is the conversion factor of 90 kilos?
Order.
Chair, it's very simple.
Order, honorable members. Order. I think we cannot be able to sit here and work the figures that Mheshimiwa you're talking about. I think these are impossible that you're asking us here. But just tell the minister, just bring the document the way Honorable Salut is saying. Then we can be able to look at the document and see the variation.
You asked me what I was to do, Chair.
No.
You asked me what if I was to do that.
I'm not going to allow that, please. Just Mheshimiwa.
Yeah, the way forward. Because it has been happening in this committee. What you have really asked for is the right thing to do. For the minister to table all the documents. You know, we also sit without him and go through it so that we could have the right, of course, that is, I'm seconding you. But now if we go around, we'll not get to the end of this. So let's wait for the documents. We can meet, let's wait for the documents and also meet today or tomorrow morning through the chair so that we go through the documents with all the questions that you have asked. We have a secretariat who are taking over those questions.
My request, Chair,
order on the trend. Oh, no, you are not the only member in the House. There are members who are requesting to speak and you want to speak throughout. Please.
They won't vote from you.
Yes, Honorable Mary.
Chair, I think the best thing here, as what our colleague asked about the document, let us not argue so much about how many kilograms and how farmers getting. Let us get the document so that when we get the document, we go through the document and we know exactly the truth, because I know our farmers are suffering because we are buying the maize at a cheaper price. So, and when you are buying maize from outside, we see that the millers, you are giving them some money so that our farmers, our people cannot suffer because of food. But exactly we want also to guide and to save our ordinary person. Let us give us document, what you have done. When we go this through document, then we are done. Without making a lot of noise, you give us the document so that this committee, they want to see exactly what is happening. Otherwise, if we are going to be arguing, we are not going to go anywhere. Thank you, Chairman.
Honorable members, we have tried to guide this meeting by the fact, no, please, I'm speaking, Honorable Florence. I have said the minister to explain this consignment of this ship which has come, what has come in, what was the cost of the exporter, how much did he sold to the millers, and what are you subsidizing? We cannot even allow the minister and the CS just to tell us that. You know it. So can we say just bring the document and then we stop it there? Honorable Utak.
I think, Honorable Chair.
No, please.
Honorable Chair.
Just all of yes. Can you just read the? Can you just read the no? Can you just read the? Honorable Uta, please, I am giving you a chance to speak as much as you want, and then you finish. And when you finish, I want you to be orderly. And I want to put a question to you. Okay, just tell the minister which document you want from him, because I don't know which documents you wanted. Just tell him.
How much do you want me to repeat? I say it for all the importers that have mentioned their name. We want all those documentations to come before this committee before the end of the day, so that Kenyan can know how much were they subsidized, how much have they paid, and will this bring the price of unga for Wanjiku to have a cheap unga at their homes? This is what we are asking. But he cannot come here and trying to tell us or tell Kenyans that they know that this is how much they are paid. The PS has already told Kenyans that now they are buying it at 3,600. And this is what I'm challenging. It's not at 3,600. They have paid more money to the millers in terms of subsidy. And they want to pay 3,000 to our farmers.
I only need you to tell us, give us the bill of landing, give us the invoice, give us the cash sale. I want you to tell the PS, give us these documents. Which documents do you want from him? Because
all that including, I said,
which one?
The importation, the declaration, the subsidy from the government. How much did they pay? How much did this miller import the maize? If it is like they said, 4,300, how much did they subsidize? In total, how much did they pay these millers? And how have they come to calculate now our farmers within our country would now be paid at 3,600. How did they reach to that figure? Yet the miller is getting over 6,000 from the taxpayers.
Order, just please. Let's put things correct. I don't know where.
Add the subsidy chair plus what they have said. They have already said here that some of these millers negotiated 4,100 per bag. You just said now. You just said now. Can we bring the answer?
Order.
You just said, the PS just said it now.
Order now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And now, if you add 4,100, how much did you subsidize this 90 kgs of maize? If you add that money, how much does it come to in a total of buying 190 kgs?
Okay.
That's what I want, Mr. Chair,
okay.
So that I know how did they arrive at paying our farmers at 3,600 now? Are the millers are the one to benefit?
I wanted the minister to explain so that you put questions.
Chair.
No.
Chair, I think, as far as I'm concerned, excuse me, Chair, I think my brother has asked the question. We have all agreed that give the ministry time. We don't want, because they don't have the figures now. They don't have the documents. What we want to do now, hold your horses. Let's then give the ministry time. Preferably this afternoon. Tomorrow, we can have a meeting. We are here. We can go through whatever papers they've got. If you have queries, we'll ask them. I mean, there's no way they are going to have the figures right now, because they were not prepared for it. So, Chair, I think on that one, let's close the chapter, move to another subject.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you'll notice this Gazette notice is signed.
Now we have moved to Gazette notice. Can you,
yes, no.
Can you exhaust what he's saying first, please?
Finish.
Just finish one thing at a time.
Yes, that's what I'm coming to. That's what I'm coming to. Because
you want votes from us, you are not the same. You are not the same chairman that I know.
No, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
can we agree on what has been proposed first, please?
First, I do agree what has been proposed. I do agree.
Order.
I do agree what has been proposed, Mr. Chairman. The documentation the minister is requested to produce, part of it is not owned by his office, and this is by information provided in this Kenya Gazette, Mr. Chairman. And this Kenya Gazette is owned by one, Eli Rotich, the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury. It is not owned by this Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Chairman. And therefore, we could be dealing with the wrong Cabinet Secretary. What is the connection? How will you tie this particular Cabinet Secretary to be able to produce these documents? Otherwise, what we are doing is in vain and is a nullity.
I think to some extent, honorable members, importers are private entity. And the documents that in possession of the minister, unless he calls from them now, it's not an issue that is in his possession. Some of us, all of you know how business are done. So you're telling him whatever maybe we can do is how much has he subsidized. I don't know in terms of payment. And in terms of payment, how do they pay? Order, Minister. What we want from you, if you can be able to access tomorrow, if it is possible tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, Tuesday.
Members will not be there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They are for pre-nomination.
IEBC pre-nomination. Yeah. I think, anyway, it is good to give you time.
Chair, you want me to...
What? Yes, ma'am.
Chair, I've been asked, I just want to put some information from the CS. Because when he was taking us through his presentation, he said that he normally gives the farmers information of how much a price of bag goes. Which mechanism do you use? Do you go on radio? Do you put it on the newspaper? Because most farmers do not know those prices you're talking about. How do you gazette it? Because the farmers, okay, Mheshimiwa Wanyonyi maybe is privileged to be talking to you, that you have been trying to buy his maize. What about my farmer who is in the village and does not even know? Who does not know even which mechanism do you use? And then for the Kenyans out there, Bwana CS, they are worried that this maize came. They hear it is yellow. Can you confirm to all the Kenyans that maize is not GMO?
Two issues. One, what is the mechanism that you use to inform the farmers? And then what is the quality of the maize that has come in?
Right, let me answer very fast. When we buy, the only price we announce to the farmers is what we buy for national food reserve. We put it in the papers when we open our cereal stores, and we tell farmers we are now receiving maize from you at this price. And that is why we advertised the 3,000 in December when we started buying. So we normally announce, and the quality of the maize which came that is the reason why when I know I had been asked why I went, I just went there to confirm the quality. I didn't go to receive any maize. I went to confirm the quality to ensure that what Kenyans is going to consume is of high quality. So it is not yellow, it is white maize. I confirmed it meets the standards for consumption in Kenya. It is not GMO.
Chair, on a point of order. Chair, on a point of order. I just want that clarification from the CS. Since when did you turn to be Kenya Bureau of Standards? Because you are a CS.
Order.
Because we know in Kenya.
Yeah. That's the minister. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for steering this meeting. Chair, I am disturbed because we now have a new constitution which actually gives two governments, both county and the national government, different functions in as far as agriculture is concerned. I have heard from the CS talking about seed. I have also heard him before talking about fertilizer. Could he be specific up to where his function reaches? Because what we understand about matters of production is actually supposed to be county government business. Could he be contributing to part of the confusion? Because if he's talking about seed, if he's talking about seed, then what would the county government be providing? Because I'm realizing that we are getting ourselves into some confused system, Chair.
Okay, I think that's a lapse of function, but nevertheless, still, when you still supplement the counties with fertilizer, with seeds, and with mechanization and tractors and those things, I think we should complain that what happened even after you have done all those things, rather than maybe we cannot be able to specifically maybe sort out the functions of the two levels of government at this juncture. But really, what happened, because yours was supplement to what the county should have done. And that's why the first time raised maybe our problems also partly is with the devolution issue, that no connection between the national and the county government in terms of mostly the resource allocation. That's my concern. Even in this aspect of subsidies, these are issues that would have been played by the counties. Even fertilizers, they are the ones who would have subsidized, they are the ones who have brought in the seeds and those things. But now, with all those supplements that we have given, I don't complain that why do we supplement the counties? Because with all those supplements, we are still in where we are. So what is the issue between the two levels of government in terms of production?
Chair, I know it is very clear what is supposed to be undertaken at the county level and at the national level, but things which are cross-cutting, the kind of priority one county would place in agriculture will be different from what another country will do. So the national objective is to increase productivity. And the best way to increase productivity is to ensure that we supplement farmers on their inputs. And that is why the national government has continued to, across the board, increase productivity in the country, not in a particular county, but across the country by subsidizing fertilizer. That is actually the reason why, with the relationship between the national government and the counties, we will agree whether that responsibility should how we are going to devolve it, and then the counties would
point of order, Chair. Chair, we seem to be moving backwards, forward. We're just like a pendulum. I don't know what did we come to discuss?
Let's wait for documentation.
Chair, we are now I personally am lost.
Yeah.
Now we have gone back to production. And what have you? Chair, it's important, but usually
order. That's important, but that should have been the beginning. We should have started from production, then we come to consumption, and then we come to importation. But now you are mixed up. The way Honorable Sarut, you are correct, I think. I think, Honorable Members, there are two issues. One is we have to get a written statement from the Minister, including the documentation that we require. Then we peruse and look at those documents. Or we ask the Minister to explain, and then we interrogate him. There are only those two ways about it. But if you want us to allow the Minister to go away, just document whatever he has, give us the tabulations of those figures that Honorable Terrain even is asking, go technically to his people, technical people, and get us all those details, and give us a written statement on this matter. Are we in agreement? Yes. Then can we stop there and close the meeting? Yes. Then the meeting will stand adjourned. Minister, Wednesday. Tuesday is I think, the minister, there are something with IBC and the members in their constituencies. So I really don't know. So we make it on Wednesday? What is it?
Let me request at that stage.
Yes, yes. Yes, please. Let me hear from you.
Thank you, Chair. You have, I know you have adjourned the meeting. I just wanted to request that I should not be taken as if I was actually defending any miller. I think that should come out very clearly. Well, yeah, yes. What? Yes, yeah. So I think I just wanted to mention that. I think my position is that we have also, our local millers. We have our local millers in Eldoret. We have our local millers all over, and these are the people we are also supporting. So I just wanted to. Thank you, Chair. Yeah.
Order, yes, PS. Order, man.
Order. You are almost going now to... the meeting is closed.
Order. I think we have closed this meeting for now. I wish I could have given the Minister an opportunity maybe to have a closing remark, but next time we are going to do that, because I think the members are tired. Seems somebody like Outa is becoming so we meet on Wednesday morning. Is that okay with you?
Thursday, Chairman, I'm requesting Thursday.
Thursday morning?
The morning is
okay. Next week, yeah? Yes.
All right, and that there is National Assembly's Agricultural Committee that had summoned the CS Agriculture, that's Willy Bett, alongside his PS, Richard Lasiampe. And it has been the last about 2 hours of questions thrown to them by the members of the Agricultural Committee on the maize imports, the maize shortage as well. And of course, we will continue to bring you all details, but the CS, they are seeking to answer the questions as to why really Kenya got herself into a crisis in as far as the situation is concerned. And the main reason he's given today is drought. That drought exacerbated the situation Kenya already was in as far as her production, her importation and exportation, and that was a situation facing other countries in the region. However, members not satisfied with that and bombarded him with a number of questions, of course, which we saw the CS answering, and this is a story we'll continue to put for you into perspective throughout the day in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Sophia Wanuna. Thank you so much for watching. Kesa Wandera will be coming up at the top of the hour with News Desk. Have a great afternoon and take care.